everybody, Rix here. So you wanted to use your inkjet printer and I've let you down all this time because you can only use my paper with a laser printer. Well, I finally figured out a way. And so in this video, I'm going to show you that not only can you use laser, you can use inkjet too with the same exact paper. So let's get right into it. Okay, so I'm in my Affinity Photo application here, and I've created an 8.5 by 11 document, and I've placed an image that was shot back around 1981. This is me right here around 21, 22 years old. And this is my good old buddy going all the way back since we were 12 years old. And we met up in North Carolina. Why I'm doing this particular photograph is because now we're in our mid-60s. We're going to take a little road trip, spend a few days catching up. We've been friends for many decades. Image transfer using the laser printer and also the inkjet printer, and actually do something that's worth keeping. Okay, so one of the things I need to do is I need to make sure that the subject is going to fit on the wood circles that I have. So here is what I'm going to do with that. Now the wood circles are almost 8 inches in diameter. Okay, and I'm going to pick up the ellipse tool here to draw a circle. Now if I hold down, I believe it's the shift key, let's see, yep, the shift key, and click, it will retain the proportion so I don't end up with an ellipse but a circle. And I'm going to draw this, and you can see the measurements are in that little box that's following my cursor, and I want to make sure that it's just under 8 inches because it's not a complete 8 inches of diameter when I measured it. So let's see, there's 8, so I'm just going to go just a little bit under 8 just to make sure that I've got it good. Okay, there we go. So this is the size of my wood disc. Now it's a little hard for me to line it up like this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, okay, so when I click on the ellipse here, this layer, I can see this has opacity shown right here at 100. Now I'm going to actually turn that down, and that way I could see through it, and I could see that, yeah, I'm going to be clipping off my feet and everything. So let me go ahead and adjust the size of my thing here so I can get it on the screen. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to click the actual photo itself, and I'm going to bring it up. That there is just under 8 inches, and I'm able to get my whole image in here. Okay, I'd like you to get a sense of what I'm talking about when I say spraying from a distance. We're going to prepare this quick transfer paper. You can see it's my paper. It says print on other side. And we're going to prepare this for use with an inkjet printer. Now it's not designed for inkjet. It's designed for laser as is. But with this little trick, we're going to be able to use this on an inkjet. Now, I'm going to choose to use the Krylon Crystal Clear. It's an acrylic spray for protecting surfaces, paint surfaces and so forth. But we're going to use it to protect the coating that is on this transfer paper. And we want to protect it from what? Moisture, because this is moisture activated. When we glue this onto something, we're going to moisten the back in order to peel it off and release the image onto whatever we're gluing it to. But when we're printing on it, we don't want to be printing on it wet. Inkjet printers are wet. So we got to protect it with this crystal clear. But we don't want to spray right next to it because this is wet. It's a liquid when you spray it on. But if I spray it from a distance, it will have a tendency of flash drying before it hits the paper. And so we'll get a nice protective coat without destroying the coating that is on the paper. Okay, so I'm going to stand about, I don't know, 2-3 feet back. And I'm just going to lightly spray over the paper. I'm doing little bursts just to get it started. I want to get enough protection on there that I can get a little more aggressive with the spray. But I don't want to affect or moisten this paper at all. If you happen to put anything wet on this coating, you risk it sticking to the surface of whatever you're going to glue it to, because it's going to start acting like regular paper, and you don't want it to do that. You want it to be easy release. So I'm not even spraying towards the paper. I'm spraying like up here and letting it drop on the paper. Gravity, they say. And if I get enough on there, I feel confident that I've protected the coating. Then I can come in here and be a little more aggressive and, spray it some more like this. But I'm going to be up here. I'm not going to be down there. And watch out that you don't get any drips or anything. Okay. Now I think that's good. I don't have to do any more than that. I want to sit here and keep breathing this stuff. And carefully, don't touch the surface there, just carefully bring it up. I'm going to take a look at it, see it nice and shiny. So it looks like the paper is now protected and ready for our next step. We're not done yet. Okay, now this paper is protected with Krylon clear coat. But the problem now is that if you try to print with an inkjet printer onto Krylon clear coat, the quality is horrible. The ink doesn't soak in, so you don't get sharp edges. It just looks terrible. It gets dotty looking, spotty looking, both. It's just not good. So what I have discovered with my experimentation, that using liquid starch, the kind you use for your clothing and so forth, that's what's in this jar. If we come in and we take a sponge brush and we apply it first this way, then this way, and make sure it's you keep stroking it with the brush so that it's not left on wet. It's just nice and a very, very thin and flat coating. Then if you let it dry completely, when you print it with the inkjet, it comes out great. But instead of using the liquid starch that you see here that's in that jar, I'm going to go use the spray starch. It's the same stuff but in an aerosol can, and I'm going to spray it on. And we'll see if that works out really good. Okay, now this is the first time I'm going to try this. This is a heavy finish ironing spray starch. So you can see the brand I bought. I got it at Walmart. It's called Faultless. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this. And because I've already protected the coating with clear coat, I don't have to worry about it getting wet with this. So I'm going to spray it right on. And this may be the easiest way to do this. I don't know. I'm doing this for the first time. Here we go. Can't even see what I'm doing because everything's white on white. Okay. All right. And I can tell you right now, I don't recommend using the spray because it comes on lumpy wet. But it will work as long as you get yourself a brush like I'm doing right here, and we're going to flatten it down just like if I had taken it out of that jar. You don't want any beating up. You want no streaks, no lines. You want this thing to be flat application. So let's just paint this on. Turn my brush over, give it a nice dry side there. I'm going to go one direction here. Now I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Just need a way to hold this down. You don't want any excess. Just wipe it on, wipe it off, pretty much, so that you have the thinnest layer of this starch as possible. It'll dry quicker and they'll have a nice surface. I'm going to do this way again to assure we print really nice on here. No beating up. You don't want any beads or streaks. It should look nice and smooth. Okay, I'm going this way again. Alright, I think I got the surface prepared really nice. Now, what I want to do before this thing dries is get it off this paper I have it on, because when starch dries it becomes kind of like glue itself. So, and I think I'll just lay it here on this tabletop, and I'll come back when this thing is completely dry and it's ready to be printed on. Okay, the paper is now dry. And it is a little bit wrinkled up and everything. I'm going to have to try to flatten this the best I can. You might take an iron to it. I would take the iron to the back and not the printing side. And that will help flatten it somewhat, though it will likely curl. Okay, so I just finished printing this off in the Inkjet printer, and I will tell you that I had difficulties feeding the paper in there. My Inkjet printer kept sliding and it wouldn't feed the paper and it kept rejecting it. So I did a little trick there I experimented with, and it seemed to work, and that is I used my stick glue. It's kind of that school stick paste, you know, comes in a little roll-up tube, and I just put it around the roller on the printer so I can grab the paper better, and it was able to feed it and it print just fine. Now, one of the things I've noticed is that due to all the coatings that was put on this paper, there is a very little change in the color from the original. So let me show you. This is on plain paper, and this is the quick transfer paper with the clear coat sprayed on it, and then the liquid starch painted on it. And you'll see, like right up in here, just a little bit more purplish than the original. So there's the original, and there's the Inkjet on the transfer paper. To me, I think it's not a big deal. But if it would be a big deal to you, then I just want you to know up front, okay? You can see
maybe you can see in the camera just a very tiny variance in color. Other than that, I think it's a pretty good photograph.
And that's the inkjet. Now back to the laser. Here is the laser print, and you'll find that it is identical to the regular paper. Here's the quick transfer paper, and you can see they're identical. See, that's why I like laser. I get everything really nice, and I don't need to add any special coatings to make the inkjet work. But it's available. If you want to use inkjet, you now know how to do it. And then we're going to take a look at it after it's transferred onto the wood circles so you can further see if it is an acceptable compromise for you if you do ink. But there you go. You can see that. So no change at all using the laser printer. And you can also compare the inkjet printer with my laser printer paper. And this is the quick transfer paper. This is just regular printer paper, but it's inkjet laser, and you can see that there is just minor changes, and that's because of the printer itself. My inkjet prints it looking like this, and I haven't adjusted the colors to compensate, and my laser prints like this. So there you go. So you're going to see a difference between the two image transfers because of the fact that the printers themselves printed differently. All right, here's regular printing paper, both of them regular printing paper. So you can see my laser prints the concrete looking more like concrete, and this one has a blue hue to it. This one does not, and neither of these are quick transfer paper. This is just regular printer paper, just regular paper. So you can see there's already a difference because my printers don't print exactly the same. I just want you to have something to compare with. All right, now let's start by transferring onto the laser onto the wood. So we'll do that one first. And what we're going to use is Mod Podge. I usually use gel medium. However, because of the clear coat, the Krylon clear coat on the inkjet paper, gel medium reacts with that, but Mod Podge does not appear to react with it. So in this case, I'm going to use the Mod Podge to apply to glue. Just got to break it loose. Man, God, it's really on there. Wow. Well, they don't call it glue for nothing. And I guess I'll use a new brush. Why not? Okay. Here we go. Put on plenty of this. Okay, make sure you don't miss any spots. Stuff is really watery. It's a thing I don't care much about Mod Podge for. It's very watery. It's like a watered glue, but it'll work. All right. Then, of course, I take my finger, make sure I have no dry spots anywhere, no little chunks like there. Get the glue spread around really good. Still pretty dry. Let's see, give me some more glue there, bud. sure you get it all the way to the edges. I want to make sure this is still wet when I put the image on it. And I wipe it on so thin it gets really dry and tacky. And I know that that's not wet enough. But you don't want it too wet that you're going to smear your image. And now this stuff doesn't dry as fast as gel medium, so I have more time to work with it. Make sure you get all the way to the edge with it. And also make sure there's plenty in the middle. Alright, I think I got it. We'll soon know if anything gets missing. Alright, I'm going to put this out here like so. Be easier to line it this way. Put that on. Don't let it slide. With that Mod Podge is so slippery, don't let this wood slide around because it can possibly smear the image. And then as soon as you can, flip it over, get your brayer, and from the center, fan it out like so. It's like the arm of a clock. The center, just move around and okay, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Then just go across. Make sure you get it all. You don't want any wrinkling, no sliding, just perfect. Just like that. Just should not be popping up, no air bubbles, nothing like that. All right, and that
looks really good. I don't see any air bubbles, no wrinkling.
Nothing's popping up, so it does look like I may have good contact here.
Now we must let this dry 100% dry. If there's any areas that does not dry when you try to remove this paper, you may end up with spots,
missing spots. You don't want that. Okay, so it's labeled laser, so we'll know what it is when it's dry and ready to go. I'm going to put that to the side. And now let's work on the wood piece. Get the smoothest side there for the inkjet paper. All right. I'm going to hurry this thing along. Okay. Let's get those hard bits out of there. You don't want those. Okay. I just slosh that around. I can get that spread faster. Yep. All the way to the edges. Make sure it's all nice and wet with glue. All right, so that feels moist and 100% covered. Now let's get that on this image here. Center it. Don't let it slide around. Just like with the laser printer, just press straight down. Be real careful. Once you get that on, flip it over, and again, from the inside out. All right, and across. It's a hard bit in there. Might give us, there's another hard bit. You gotta try to get those hard bits out, and I guess I failed doing that, but let's hope it doesn't cause me any issues here. All right. Nice. Okay, so this one here is labeled ink, so we know it's the Inkjet,
And I'm going to go ahead and put this aside, and it also needs to be 100% dry before we try to release it. Okay, I'll be back when it's all ready to go, and that'll just be like 1 second to all of you. Okay, well, it's several hours later. As a matter of fact, it's my bedtime. It's late in the evening, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and peel these transfers and see how they came out. I'll conclude the video tomorrow, but to you, it's all at the same time. Anyway, let's get straight into it. This one here is the laser printer. We'll do it first. You can see it's just perfectly dry. Paper's glued on. That's what you want to see. So what we're going to do is add some moisture. I'm going to use water. This is water. I'm applying it with a sponge brush. I had someone comment in one of my videos, was wondering what I was doing with the, what was I brushing on? Just water. This paper releases with water. And 30 seconds is usually a good amount of time, but I don't really time this. I just give it enough time to soak in. You want it to go into the paper, to the coating layer. That's important. Sometimes you'll see the image start to shine through, show through. I could see a little bit of it, but it doesn't take that long for water to soak in. And then I take the excess off by using a dry, clean paper towel. Just kind of go over it like this. I don't want to dry it, I just want to take up the excess. Alright, so now the reveal. And we slowly start to peel, and look at this, it just comes off like butter. Perfect, which I would expect. Look at that. Clean sheet, nothing on it. And that there, my friends, is the laser printing. Okay, and my centering was not perfect, but it is good enough. There it is right there. Take a look at that. And of course you can protect it. You can use clear coat, lacquer, whatever. But look at that, isn't that pretty cool? All right, now here's the one we really want to see, because we know the laser works perfect. But the question is, can we do the Inkjet? is my little trick using the liquid starch and the clear coat spray. Good enough to get her done. Same thing, you want to soak in the water 30 seconds, minute, whatever it takes. And you know, if you're able to see the image through it, that's a bonus. So I give it a moment there to soak in. And I definitely want to see a nice clean peel, that's for sure. Alright. So I can kind of see the image, so I think we got a good soak there. Clean towel, dry. Just take up the excess. We don't need all this water. And same thing, let's see, what kind of a peel are we talking? Well, look. It does peel off really nice. Okay, now there's a difference here. With the Inkjet one, we do have part of the image is still on the paper, but the most important thing is how did it turn out on here? And there you go, look at that. So you certainly can do it. Now I'm going to compare the two for you. But we definitely got, it looks like my off-centering was on both, so perhaps it was just that I didn't make the image big enough, but let me get this X-Acto knife put away and then I'm going to show you both. And there you go. Okay, so look at that. That's pretty darn good. See, everything looks pretty darn good. I don't, just the color is a little different, but you saw that before I made the transfer. So what was on the paper definitely came out on the wood. So anyway, there you go. I'll let you be the judge of it, but I think that's definitely, definitely looks really good. So you can now do inkjet as well as laser. Anyway, if you can't tell, I'm wearing down. I'm pretty tired. It's time for me to call it tonight. Let me move that out of the way so you can see this side by side. Okay, inkjet, laser.
Well, there you go. Some of you asked for it. Now you have it. Inkjet. We can do inkjet now. And of course, good old laser that we've always been able to do. And you saw in this video how easy it is to add a couple of simple things to the paper to make it inkjet printable. But look at the quality of that. And look how young that guy is right there. That's yours truly. Boy, I don't know. 8 years haven't probably been very good for me. Too much. That's 44 years ago right there. North Carolina. Anyway, enough about me. Check that out. Isn't that awesome? I'm looking over here at the screen and trying to get over. Anyway. Well, hey, if you enjoyed this video, you think you learned something, I sure would appreciate it if you would just hit that like button for me. It just takes a fraction of a second. Just hit that like button. It really helps support this channel, and you know, and the more support I can get, the more content I can push out. And if you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and click the notification bell. That's important, because if you don't do that, you're not going to know when I put out new videos. And thank you so much for watching, and really appreciate your support. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye now.